Hi there, my name is Tariana Rocha. You can call me Tari. I'm a coach, and this video is specifically for daughters of narcissistic mothers. And my intention with this video is to get a subject that's really complex and really painful and try to make it simple and try to make it easy for daughters and sons of narcissistic parents to understand which sort of attitudes are going to bring them closer to healing and which sorts of attitudes are going to basically push away that possibility of healing. So what I want to do here is I want to explain what the great problem with having been raised by a narcissist is. So what happens is, imagine you're in your family home and you're interacting with your family and you're a child. And as a child, you notice throughout many moments, in many circumstances, that when you manifest your individuality, you're not really accepted. And it's not only that you're not accepted, but you're like actively ridiculed and humiliated and made to feel bad because you have an individuality. So I made a list of some really frequent behaviors that happen between narcissistic mothers and their children, and so you can identify with what I'm talking about and kind of understand how it is that your upbringing affected your personality and is preventing you from having a full life nowadays. So for example, you got many messages throughout your childhood that you weren't good enough. Maybe your needs weren't met. And it's important for us to remember that every child comes to planet Earth with this little invisible list of needs that are existential needs that go far beyond just needing, a bath and food and to go poo and to pee. We come to planet Earth with existential needs, which include feeling safe to be yourself, feeling safe to explore and develop your own intelligence, feeling safe to explore the world and come to your own conclusions, feeling safe to make mistakes, and also feeling safe and protected from the sensation of overwhelm. Feeling safe in the environment where you're at, for you to be able to be in a stable environment where there's not going to be like all these weird peaks of energy and stress. This is a necessity that we come to planet Earth with. So sometimes these necessities weren't met. And sometimes not only were these necessities not met, but if you asked for them to be met, you were met with ridicule. And the message that is sent to you is your needs aren't important. Another way that you might have observed this is that your narcissistic mom took credit for your success. So whatever it is that you were able to achieve on your own, it was minimized. Oh, she was only able to do that because me as a mom, I did this or this other thing. So basically, it's like even when you work for something, you don't exist. Whatever it is that you achieve belongs to her. And in other situations, it's not that she takes credit for your success, but rather she just actively sabotages you or minimizes your success, to the point of many daughters of narcissistic mothers not really feeling minimally capable of dealing with the issues in their own lives. They don't feel minimally capable of being an adult in the world, and they feel like these children that are stuck in these 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old bodies, and they're still codependent on mom because mom has routinely sabotaged their ability to feel confident. So another way that your needs were ignored and that you were ignored and you were made to feel that you weren't good enough is that there was constant competition. So you couldn't simply go off into the world and develop your skills and figure out who you were. There wasn't a safe space for that. There was always, her eyes on top of you, trying to compete with you, trying to make you feel unsafe, trying to make the whole experience of developing yourself a stressful experience that came down to competition. Another way is if you ever had your own opinions that were different from hers, then you might have been completely ignored or, again, actively ridiculed, actively just treated really badly. So all of these things give you this message. Whatever it is that comes from your insides, whatever it is that's you, is not acceptable. Mom will not approve. Another way, you couldn't defend yourself. If you were treated a certain way, which was totally wrong, but if you were to treat your mom in the same way or ask that you be treated differently, then, there was this huge emotional, dramatic storm where you were made to be the bad person and she was the good person. And all of a sudden, when you ask for like a minimal amount of respect, then you're treated like the villain, right? Or another way that you were told that you weren't good enough. You can't share your wins with her. You can't share your victories because either she demonstrates utter indifference and boredom, or she's just like incapable of listening to you. You can see that she disconnects and goes off to some other place and interrupts you and starts either competing with you or telling you about her life. So again, when you want to share something with your mom and you're met with utter indifference and boredom, or she's trying to compete with you, you understand that you're not important. Let's see, what else? And then there's another issue. Many narcissistic mothers have like a series of other issues as well. They have other personality disorders and mental illnesses, but basically they're unstable. So when you grow up in an unstable environment, you learn as a kid to walk on eggshells. And basically you learn how to repress everything that you are because you never know when mom's next, tantrum is going to be. So you learn one more time to not be yourself. Let's see. There's a number of ways that you get this message when you're raised by a narcissistic mom. These are just some examples. And then, of course, there's always the gaslighting. And what's gaslighting? It's a form of psychological abuse that is designed to make the victim feel like he or she is going crazy. So if throughout your life you saw things with your own two eyes and you felt things that you were sure of inside, but then when you talked to your mom about these things, she looked at you as if you were crazy and made you feel as if you'd seen certain things that weren't there, you'd heard or felt or thought certain things that weren't true. You're not going to like not trust your mom. Your mom is the most important person in your life. So you're not going to trust yourself. So through all of these little attitudes and gaslighting, you learn that you cannot be trusted because if you manifest yourself as you truly are, there's like this array of terrible consequences. So you learn how to not be yourself. And what you develop in order to survive? Well, think about it this way. If you're a kid, you can't like get your luggage and go off into the world because you're completely dependent on your mom. So your mind, your own psychology is going to come up with mechanisms to defend yourself whilst you're still in that environment. And the mechanism that it comes up with is called a false self. Since you learn that you are not acceptable or good enough in order to survive in an environment where whenever you manifest your true self, you suffer hostility, you develop a false self. And this false self is like this voice in your head, this audience that you perform for, and you feel like there's always like these pair of eyes in your head, always judging you, always telling you what you're supposed to be and what you can't be. And you carry the sensation of having to perform for this invisible, judgmental audience well into adulthood. And if you live from your false self for long enough, which is what happens to daughters and sons of narcissistic parents, then you have a series of terrible consequences in the adult phase. For example, you have no idea who you are. You don't know what you like, what you don't like. This makes it incredibly stressful to make decisions. Making a decision takes mental effort, and the energy that goes into decision making is actually limited. We tend to think that you can make decisions all day long and it's going to be fine. But the truth is, just like focus, you can only carry it out for a certain period of time, and then it starts like kind of fading away. So when you don't know who you are and every tiny little decision takes so much mental effort, you just get into the state of exhaustion. And it's so confusing, and there's so much, despair and anguish involved. So you have a hard time making decisions. You also don't know what your needs are. You have a hard time establishing boundaries. You feel constant resentment and fear of other people because it's like you get sucked into their drama and you get sucked into their needs. Or you suck people into your drama and your needs and you don't respect other people's boundaries either. Either way, when there's no boundaries in relationships, there is always pain. Because somebody is effacing who they are in order for the other person to exist. And you know what sort of pain this causes. Other than this, the result of you not being able to identify and satisfy your own needs is that you consistently neglect yourself. you consistently accept less in various areas of your life than would be ideal for you. And you think this is normal because you've been living in this subhuman state for so long. You don't trust your own intelligence. Through years of gaslighting, you were taught not to trust your inner wisdom, to think that you're crazy, or that maybe you imagined the abuse, or that it wasn't that bad, or that maybe, you're misinterpreting things. So if you don't trust your own intelligence, it's absolutely impossible to have even the minimal amount of peace of mind. Let's see. Basically, another wound that you're left with is, if you can't trust anything that comes from inside of you, then you feel completely incompetent in life. You don't feel capable of doing basic adult things. So it might be that maybe you're really good in your career, but you're like completely childish and feel completely childish when it comes to relationships. Or you might feel childish when it comes to everything. You might be completely dependent on your mom, codependent emotionally, dependent financially, and you feel just childish. Like, how am I 40, 50, 60 years old, 30, 20, whatever, and I can't hold down a job? I can't do anything for myself. And of course, all of this results in the human disconnect. You feel disconnected. Maybe you feel like you're a ghost in a body. Maybe you feel like you've always been dead, looking through the eyes of this thing that you can't identify with. Maybe you feel disconnected from reality to the point where you have to kind of hurt yourself a little bit to start feeling again. Maybe whenever you go out in public, you think that everyone is judging you, and that for some invisible reason that you can't put your finger on, you are prohibited from having healthy bonds. Whatever it is, you feel disconnected from your ability to receive the nurturing that you need, be it social, be it professional, financial, intellectual, whatever. And this disconnect, it can manifest in depersonalization, depression, derealization, but it's the most painful experience, because it truly stems from a disconnect that's going on between you and yourself. As you live through your false self, you don't know how to get back to your true self, and you doubt that it's even there. Well, I'm here to tell you that your true self is always there. It never goes away, and there's part of your mind that is perfect, and it always remains pure, and that you can always go back to. So I said that I was going to talk about the problems of being the daughter of a narcissistic mom, but I was also going to give the solution. I'm going to do a series of videos on how to heal from narcissistic abuse perpetrated by your mother. So please ask me questions in the comments. I want to know what it is that you guys have the greatest trouble with. I want to be able to help as much as possible. So let's go to the solution. The solution is very simple. If you've been living from your false self, then absolutely anything that reconnects you with your true self is going to help you heal. The solution is being reconnected with your own desires, your own needs, your own preferences, okay? And then actively creating a life around the satisfaction of those needs and around the realization of those desires. So basically, if moment by moment you're able to ask yourself, whoa, why am I feeling pain in this moment? What is it that I am subjecting myself to that is not aligned with what I truly want for myself, with what would be ideal for me? That this like laser observation, moment by moment observation of what your needs are and whether you are satisfying them or whether you are effacing them in order to exist. This is what's going to help you moment by moment choose your true self. And then the next moment comes by and you're like, whoa, this is what people expect from me, but this is what I really want. What do I do? Choose your true self. And then another moment's going to come by. It's like, whoa, my family's trying to get into my head. My mom is trying to do this, but this is what I really want. Choose your true self. And when that toxic voice in your head comes and says, you are incompetent, you can never hold down a job, but there's your true self saying, wait, hold up, I want to be financially independent. Choose your true self. When there's that voice that says, you're never going to have a healthy relationship, you can't do that, you're broken inside, but there's like this little whisper in there that says, you know what, something tells me that I'm going to have a relationship, that this is what I desire. Choose your true self. So obviously, our true self, it manifests through these little curiosities, these desires, this little, this little inkling of light that lights up when we think about certain things. And if you monitor your internal reactions to the many alternatives that you can choose in any given situation, you will observe that maybe alternative A causes all sorts of really heavy sensations inside of you. That's a sign that you're working through your false self. And maybe alternative B causes some negative things, but some light positive energy as well. Maybe you're getting closer to your true self. But, option C, it's that option that people tell you that is wrong, that your family tells you that you're bad for wanting, that the voices inside your head say that you don't have the right to have. But that's the one that truly satisfies your needs the best. Go for option C. So how do we develop this courage to choose the option that actually satisfies our needs? Well, this is a process, and it's moment by moment, okay? You can get this whole big complex thing about having a false self due to narcissistic abuse perpetrated by your mom, and moment by moment you can simplify it, being absolutely sure that you are walking towards, you're heading towards your healing if you simply observe moment by moment, what is my need now? What do the toxic voices tell me to do, and what do I actually want? And choose your true self every single time. And you will strengthen yourself, and you will believe in your true self, and you will never, ever, ever, ever accept the littleness that your false self gave you. Okay, I hope this video was helpful. This work that I do is autobiographical. I am a coach rather. I work with daughters and sons of narcissistic mothers, helping them identify their true selves and live from their true selves, so that they can feel alive, they can reclaim their power and create a life that's ideal for them, far away from their abusive moms. If you have any more information, or if you want to know more about my work, get in touch through the comments, or you can also get in touch through my email, and please let me know if there's any other way that I can help. Thank you.